world of 3D modeling, one favorite rite of passage is the donut.
Donut? What's a donut?
To start learning, I needed a prompt. So I went to my friend, and he suggested something like One Punch Man versus He-Man. To which I replied, if Saitama, One Punch Man, punched He-Man, he would punch him so hard he'd turn back into Prince Adam, followed by, well, crapping his pants. So I had to get to work. Now, you can't create anything without using some form of Adobe products. But then there's also this little-known old program called Blender for pretty much everything else from video games and movies. Programs like Cascadeur, Maya, ActorCore, and, last but not least, Houdini, where I made my donut. Those programs are pretty much industry standards used by the studios behind Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and more. When I first realized that I needed to work with 3D models, I thought about my growing collection of 3D printing assets. And sure enough, the two worlds spoke a similar dialect of the same language. So like the donut, the teapot, the desk lamp, the monkey, and the rabbit, the 3D print world has Benchy, the tugboat, and ipso fatso 3D printing calibration model. However, high-resolution print models usually mean high-quality digital models. And they have enough pixels, voxels, and polygons that rendering them on my little laptop not only causes a little or a lot of lag, but it causes the streetlights outside to dim like someone just dropped a toaster in a bathtub.
What's going on?
3 weeks later.
We now return to 3D modeling, animation, and you can too, with your host and teacher, Has Maximus. As you can see, with a little bit of trial and error, anyone can take something from the third dimension, digitize it, and manipulate it with ease in the dimension of your own choosing. It is easy. It only takes millions and millions of clicks and days upon days of languishing in front of your favorite Netflix while watching tutorials and importing models, but finally I had what I needed. I have my actors, I have my models, and several seasons of silly CW sci-fi shows to source some sanity or solicit shenanigans. Just as a chef sets out all their ingredients and prepares to cook, I now know what ingredients I should use and which tools I prefer in order to put together this final product of an epic battle between He-Man and Saitama. Let's take a look at one of the programs that help rig 3D models into actors. As the famous sculptor Michelangelo did with the David and those epic manga artists did with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I present to you
I can't feel my hands.
the human form in all its majesty and splendor.
I can feel it.
3D models are arguably easier to control actors. Is He-Man wearing furry underwear? I'm going to assume that's what it is. That's at least what I always thought it was. What else could it be? Anyway, following the tutorials, I was able to make this. And following the steps, I was also able to make this. Can you tell what it is?
I'll take swords for 400. It's actually not swords, sir. Swords. These are words that begin with S.
As soon as I knew enough to be dangerous, I sought out to add a simple grass texture to a plane for my own custom crystal of
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite.
What?
Once again, I brought my CPU to the brink of breaking.
Wrong!
All in a simple attempt to add a high-quality texture to a plane.
Wow, that's really something, Lex.
It's still cool to be able to take things and make them look like they're crystals or metal or melting or exploding or on fire or made out of jello or blowing in the wind using things like geometry nodes and procedure networks and shaders and handles and parameters and glorbos and camera tracking shots and keyframes and interpolating. Presenting Saitama. Custom made because there weren't any low quality or usable low polygon models in existence. So on the default model, I mapped a picture of his face, and then I custom modeled the hands and the feet into gloves and boots. And finally, I modeled a cape into a cloth fabric. Stitched it all together and took a step back to admire my work, only to realize I have a long way still yet to go.
Well, I thought it was a very lovely story, and you tell it so well, with such enthusiasm.